Okay, we're live. I'm going to wait a few minutes to get started here with Poets in Pajamas. Welcome, I'm Emari DiGiorgio. This is my office. I have some original artwork by my friend Mandy Heck above me. I have my grandmother's painting. She didn't paint it, it was just in her house behind me. I have a gift from Extraction here. My friend Chris Moore on the wall there. So I'm here. So I'll wait a few minutes to get started. Here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, it's rained all day. It's still raining outside now. Hey, Ashley, I see you just joined. Woo woo. Hey, bestie. I was so tempted to write back, but I could just talk to you because you can hear me. Do you have any poetry requests this evening, Ashley? So I could give you a little information about myself as we get started. Oh. My first book, The Things a Body Might Become, just debuted with Five Oaks Press. And I had my book release party this past Wednesday at the Noise Arts Garage, and it was a fantastic event. I was surrounded by so many people from different parts of my life. My first post-MFA writing group, I think all of the members of that workshop were there, and that was really special because that's almost a decade ago. Then all my so many colleagues and friends from Stockton University were able to be there. The South Jersey Poets Collective and the reading series that I host in Atlantic City, just wonderful people there. But then people from my yoga community, from my daughter's school, my husband's friends. There were just so many people there. It was amazing to launch the book in that way. So I feel so grateful. I have a surprise second manuscript coming. It's almost like, what is it, like Irish twins? And they said my second manuscript is called Torpedo, and this is not in its official book form yet. I'm still waiting on that. But I think I'll get started. Hi, Tom. I see that you've joined as well. Welcome. If you have any poem requests, please let me know. Type them in. But I think I'll get started, and I'm going to open by reading the first poem in The Things a Body Might Become, which is a poem I haven't read at a reading in a long time. And it's one of the earliest poems in this collection. Close to the Edge. Watch it, he says. I push the egg across the counter, subtly at first, but now that he's said something hard with the fork, launching a reckless wobble, I ask, is it selfless or selfish to kamikaze, to hijack a 757 on its way to LA? What's the difference? Honor, he says. Believing one's country is right, right? The egg's close to the edge, and I'm tempted to smash it with my fist, stop its uneasy scuttle. This is our kitchen, our counter, our dinner half prepped, our TV ringing in the other room. But I feel as if I were spinning inside that egg. I can only imagine inside that shell, that plane, that pilot. Honor. protect and serve, a shiny metal badge, the sheriff's heavy holster. I heat the skillet, the oil thins. Somewhere a child chooses to load a gun, somewhere he doesn't have a choice. This egg can't ever be a chicken, no matter how long I leave it in the fridge or cradle it between my feet on the couch. You're wrong, he says, and you're in trouble if you can't see the difference. He's right. I can't separate the two, and he can't hear me. Won't imagine the woman who straps the bomb purse beneath her salwar might believe her life a sacrifice, this death honorable. So I think one of the things that I'm always thinking about, or maybe not always, but often thinking about in my poems is what is it that motivates people to act the way they do? The notion of proximity, how much closer can we get to someone to understand the hurt they might have, the frustrations, the hate they might have, and to think about, to interrogate why that individual may be living within that mindset, and what am I missing? What are all of us missing by not getting closer? So I see Ashley has given me a couple of requests, and I'm happy to honor them today. So if anyone else reading, I see more and more people viewing. If you have requests, type them in the sidebar, and I'd be happy to read them. So my next poem that I'm going to read today is Self-Portrait as the Knockout Queen, which is another poem thinking about the other, and thinking in a female or feminist perspective. So some of you may have heard of the media hype, the stories regarding the knockout kings or the knockout game, where the groups of men apparently were wandering the street and punching folks who looked like they had privilege in some capacity, mostly white people. And so this was a kind of hype and campaign, and I saw on YouTube that there was a self-proclaimed knockout king. And I thought, what would it be like if there was a queen? What would that be? Self-portrait as the knockout queen. I'd like to knock that bitch out. Fist to face, lay her flat on her flat ass because she's so damn skinny, with perfect teeth and smooth hair. Because she's oblivious of me roving the streets, looking for someone to punish. Because I can walk up to any unsuspecting prick. Light skin, dark skin, translucent, a bag of bones and blood. Concrete knuckle, street runner, concrete concussion, paint the street with polar bear blood, paint the street with panther blood, because I hurt so bad. If I could peel off my face and put on yours, walk into Starbucks, walk into an interview, I'm already using your language, imitating what it's like to be a man in the world, a woman in a man's world, a mother in a dangerous world. I could slit your throat if I was someone else. Press me up against the empty turnstile and I become someone else. From the back, I might be a 16-year-old Hispanic girl or a Filipino nail tech with 2 sons. Popping my gum. One quick hit, a sudden blow, and you're on your back. Someone saying, "Oh God." Another, "Are you okay?" Alive. Awake with a bit of dried blood on your face, an empty wallet, pantyless on a pool table with several varsity players, fingerprints, if you're lucky, in your vagina. That's when I want to knock out somebody. Those boys pissing in the locker room, laughing about last night. That fat, bald principal in his striped suit, How small his tie looks under his double chin. His beady eyes. How I'd like to pluck them out or push them so far into his head that the skin stretches toward itself, puckers, like he has two new navels where his eyes were, that flapping mouth, that eel-like tongue. Every time he speaks, a small shock to the center of my forehead. My eyes change like mood rings, first cool aquamarine, now sepia, burnt orange, brake light red. Once in the back of a truck, once on a cargo ship. Somebody's mother and father sold her to the slick-suited man who promised a steady job, perhaps sewing buttons on cashmere cardigans or painting a shirt on Daisy Duck's naked torso. She's pantless, too. The sudden blow. I woke in my own bed. I woke strapped to a gurney. I'd like to punch every man who looks at me like that, and the women who stare. Even if I wore a veil, my eyes might invite a man to imagine what I might be like in the dark on my knees. I woke at the bottom of an empty pool. I woke on a bench on the boardwalk. I've trained my hand like a bonsai, soldered a new fist at the wrist, a claw from a porcelain tub, a halogen bulb. I'm lying on my back, head cracked, where a girl writes her name in the street with a bit of congealed blood, draws a smiling sun, a boat floating or sinking in the red waves, which might be flames, shark chum, or the storm that's yet to come. So I'm going to scroll back up here to see Ashley's request and get one of those in there. Let's see here. Ashley would like, I'm going to read Heirloom. Okay. All right. And for anyone who picked up one of my pens from the reading, this is the pull-out poem on the back, Heirloom. A stone has crept into my shirt, the way others overturn thin-rimmed bicycles and reefs spoil the hulls of ships. I take off my shirt, shake it out, but the stone has slipped beneath my skin, here, above the heart. The women in my family must have inherited some magnet in our mother's wombs, the stones shaping pyramids in our breasts. One aunt has emptied the river from collarbone to armpit, mining for more. My small stone is carved in relief, a cameo of Athena, onyx chestplate, narrowed eyes. So, a couple more here. All right. So I'm going to read this poem called The Firing Point, which is a poem that I wrote after the Newtown shooting. I want to walk through that school, tap each child on the shoulder, fold their souls into strips of accordion pleated paper, release them bullet-free, the fast flash of monarch wings in flight. I want to press my finger to my lips as we line up in the hall hand in hand and walk into the bright December light. I want to tap the fallen teachers too, then stand in a circle around the young man who took his own life. I want the children to decide what's right or wrong or fair. If each could save one life, would his be it? I want to have kept my daughter home, permitted her pecan ice cream, waffles, if I knew that breakfast was to be her last. I wish that as soon as the gun was visible, she thought of feeding geese, and when it was pointed at her, the trigger pop sent her straight into sleep. Outside the firehouse, aching, angry, a struck match. I want her back. I want that man to suffer, want his mother to lose her child. And I learn that she lost him his whole life. I want to hold a gun in my hands, to tear open a paper target until wind whistles through, until I empty the chamber between the eyes, into the same spot I'd kiss my daughter every night. So some of the poems in the new collection are a lot about motherhood. They look at a culture of sexual assault in the United States and around the globe. And I think I want to read a few mother poems. And I love being a mother, but it's the hardest job I've ever had. And I've thought a lot about the ways in which parents in general try to protect their children. And this next short poem is called The Infant Corpses at the Home for Young Girls. Some stillborn, some born into the still air of dank rooms, a breed as bad or worse than orphans. I know why a young mother might kiss her milk-drunk babe before covering nose and mouth with one hand. Here, before any man's hurt her, no man's shamed her, no God's judged. No way to quell that other hunger, love. It's pain from the beginning, that inexplicable spasm, the first time you're kicked from the inside. I see lots of people joining here. Let's see here. Any other comments that I need to respond to? Let's see. Any others? Let's see. Nope. Mostly all couch comments. Anything else? Nope, nope, nope. Excellent. Okay. So now I'm going to read a poem that is, I think I'm going to read maybe two more. Yeah, this one. And this one I wrote for a friend during Tupelo's 3030. And so it's for Florence, whose name means to blossom. Okay. 5 years of infertility, ending with a child. Some things grow better in the dark, but most flowers will arch their spines to whatever light they find. Off the path, 100-year sycamore squats. Trunk itself a flash of lightning, or woman whose hips lie even with knees, torso lifted towards sky. I'm not a tree. I've not covered the distance to the moon yet, and may not in this one life. It took 5 years to plant the seeds they sent to orbit the moon. 5 years I clocked my body's tidal forces, but each month the blood came. I'd spent my whole life up to that moment not wanting a child, and now this need was all I knew. Once in the Middle South, I tried to find the lost cove. The pressed clay looked enough like flesh I understood from where the old tales came. Every ropey vine in shadows crack a fool snake. In a second cave, I found a vortex of stones balanced in what must have been a basin hewn by settlers a century ago, and beside it a tub shaped like an old pram. If I'd found a child there, I'd have taken her home. In a story I read as a girl, a fishing woman finds a mer child in a king crab shell she's hauled after the storm of all storms. She's righteous enough to consult village elders to seek out the sea goddess who fills the night with her sorrow. Who would return to me what I'd not yet found? 5 years after they left, the seeds that returned from the moon were scattered across earth, have grown full size. They cast the same shade, and their seeds have become half-moon and quarter-moon trees. Child, I've carried you this whole life, just waiting for you to bloom. And I'm going to close with another short poem. And in some ways, I feel so special because I actually have trolls right now, and I can't believe this. I feel like I've reached a new level of poetry fandom, which I know isn't real fandom, but I'm really excited about this. It's so amazing to me. How does that happen? I have an idea how it happens. I bet it has nothing to do with my poetry. I bet it has to do with other things in my life. And that makes me really proud. Taylor Carmen Savah, thank you so much for your comment. So this is Angel Assassination. This is for my trolls. And it's after Charlotte Corday. All right. When Legros slapped her severed head, the crowd mistook her blush. Not shame, but disgust. A simple man to think the just dead do not judge. If her tongue still flapped, she'd spit Plutarch's credo. To slice brie de mal or a man's aorta, best to wet the 6-inch blade of a woman's spite. So blood pours freely as Merlot stains the tub. Heart of terror put to bed, a bust of marble cut. The men in fear were born from mortal wombs, apt for a lady executioner, immigrant cook, or one of the wives we think too dumb to give a fuck, in simple flats, dressed in black. She doesn't need to love death to do the deed, just life enough and liberty. So I'll take your comments now and questions, whatever questions related to poetry you might have or process. I look forward to answering them. Let's see. Naranga, I saw your comments. It'll be reposted, so you'll be able to see more of the poems later. So right now I'm working on some poems that look more closely at my own personal culture. So I'm Italian American, and I think that Italians are one of the only groups of brown people who became white and maintain all of their white privilege. And I want to look closely at the ways in which my family history has earned that privilege, and the way in which for me it has been revoked in different scenarios. The browner I get in summer months, the way in which suddenly I'm treated like a person of color for a period of time, and then I return to this other land of privilege, and the way in which I'm responsible for thinking about the ways in which I might use my privilege to help people who do not have that privilege. And so my work now is examining how I might think more critically about that and write into that. So I'm mostly interested in writing into personal history and race and class and complicity in the larger structures right now. I have another question from Tim and Ashley here about workshops and residencies coming up. I was just waitlisted for my own personal writing residency that I applied for, but I'm going to apply for some more, and some other are up in the air right now. I hope to come back to Firefly Farms at some point in time, and so I might try to schedule something in May or next fall, based on when I have some time. I am going to be teaching at the Winter Poetry and Prose Getaway, which is Martin Luther King weekend, and that's held at Stockton Seaview. I'll be running a Algonquin style literary salon workshop on Friday evening before the getaway begins, and then I'll be offering one-on-one poetry tutorials on Saturday and Sunday, and on Monday I'll host a workshop as well, and I do the early morning yoga there. So I'll be teaching then, and then in May I'm planning to offer a poetry workshop, a weekend retreat. This will also be through Murphy Writing of Stockton University, and details for that are forthcoming. So I'll post them on my website and share them on Facebook as well. Let's see some other questions here. All right. Okay, so Richard, you've asked a little about Origami Woman. Can I talk about the structure and the spacing? That's a great question here. So I'm going to show it to folks who don't have the book. So it's written in 2 columns. And so for that particular poem, I was thinking about the way in which women are, and girls are shaped and molded culturally by their parents, by their friends, by media, by their own impressions of what beauty is and what women and girls should do. And so this poem imagines following directions to make something with origami. And in this, in the 2-column format, it permits 2 different readings. So there's a vertical reading and a horizontal reading. And so here might be the different way that choices one might make and end up being folded in different ways, or the final structure might evolve differently. And I think that the spacing there, the use of white space is to make us move more slowly through the poem. So in the beginning, 1 sheet, a fleet of pleats, valley fold the front flap down, to crease a girl into 16ths. So I want the reader to move slowly through the description of what's happening to this girl as she's turned and folded and pleated and moved in various ways as she becomes a woman. Thank you for asking that question. Let's see here. Oh, Rachel, thanks for asking what poems am I really into right now. Oh, I'm into so many. Let's see. I want to be writing a couple reviews right now of a couple poets, but they're sort of on hold because I'm so busy with school. But I think right now I've been returning to Patrick Russell's Brooklyn Antediluvial. I love that book so much, and I'm rereading particularly the title poem, which is really long. I'm really interested in the way he's looking at language in that poem and looking at history of physical space and personal history and weaving it all together as one poem. I've been rereading Jane Satterfield's Apocalypse Mixtape because I am working on a review for that book, and I think that's a really brilliant book that merges sort of these domestic moments with larger cultural and military political landscapes, where she brings them together, fuses them in a kind of way where we have both this really personal, intimate story with something much larger in the landscape. So those are 2 of my favorites right now. But I love Kaveh Akbar, who also made me peek at my bookshelf right now. Who have I pulled up? Oh, I just read Megan Privatello's new chapbook, and let me see. I'm really excited about lots of folks, but I feel like I need to make more time to do some of what I did in the summer, where I was sharing favorite poems of what I was reading. So if I read something, I would post a poem online. I want to get back into that so that I can be sharing my list with folks. Let's see here. I have a bunch of other comments. Let's see here. All right. Yes, Patrick Russell. Let's see here. All right, and I think that those may be the last comments. I'll see if there's any others, because I see Taylor just rejoined, if she has any questions. Okay. So it was a pleasure to share some poems with you here in Poets in Pajamas. And I thank you for your attention and time. And again, you can check out Things a Body Might Become. It's available from Five Oaks Press. And Girl Torpedo will be out in February. So I'll happily share that information with you too. So have a great evening, and I'll talk with you later. Bye.